couple of questions about something I seem to remember about senators leaving the state. So I'm going to try to ask this question in a non-loaded way by saying, asking both candidates to comment on that tactic, which is what it was, a tactic, and why it was good or why it was bad. I've lost track. Who goes first?
Senator Wirch.
Bob? And then Jonathan.
This was the worst attack on working people in the history of the state. My opponent doesn't worry about working people, he worries about corporations. I worry about working people in this state, and it was the worst attack in the history of the state. They tried to ram it through in 3 days, while people were still high on the Packers winning the Super Bowl. We went to Illinois to slow down the process. We know the majority always wins in this state, but we thought, oh, let's talk about what else was in that bill. Selling 25 power plants out there without competitive bidding, sweetheart deals by this administration. 33 jobs taken out of civil service so that Governor Walker could give it to his cronies. Giving dictatorial power over social services to his secretary without consulting the legislature. All that in a horrible bill they were trying to push through in 3 days. We went to Illinois to slow down the process. Now, my opponent thinks it's terrible. I would suggest to him that the head of the Republican Party, a guy by the name of Abraham Lincoln, did the same thing. He jumped out a second-floor window to avoid a quorum. It was a delaying tactic to educate the people of the state, and by God, the people of the state caught on to what they were trying to do.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Well, there goes Bob Wirch again with his class warfare. I'm still trying to figure out what a working person is. From the best I can tell, most of you aren't working people. I'm certainly not a working person, even though I often spend 80 or 100 hours in the office a week. It's class warfare at its finest. This wasn't the worst attack on the people of Wisconsin. In my opinion, the worst attack on the people of Wisconsin was raising taxes over and over again over the last decade, leaving the state in $3 billion in deficit. And when the Republicans ran a campaign in 2010 on that platform, and ran a campaign based on the fact that they were going to cut spending and balance the budget without raising taxes, the Democrats left the Senate. I think it was the wrong thing to do. It was an abdication of responsibility, and there needs to be consequences for that. I contrast Bob Wirch with a man like Peter Barca. Obviously, I disagree with Peter Barca on policy issues, but I can respect Peter Barca because he stood in the chamber, he argued for what he believed in, and he voted against the bill. And that's what Bob Wirch should have been doing. He should have been our voice in Madison. Instead, he was in Illinois. He can keep saying that he was delaying tactics. A delaying tactic is 1 or 2 days. 3 weeks in Illinois is called shutting the government down, and it's the wrong way to do it. It's the wrong precedent to set.
Thank you.